time, space, reality. It's more than just a linear path. It's a prison of endless possibility, where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities, creating alternate worlds from the ones you know. I am your cult leader. I am your guide through these vast new realities. Follow me as we ponder the question, what if? The Incredibles is Disney's golden child when it comes to superhero media. No, Disney not create Marvel, they bought Marvel. Which, by the way, came out with their animated series over on Disney Plus, Marvel Zombies, loosely based on the comics. Marvel Zombies is a cult classic where our favorite heroes are infected by a zombie virus that gives them a hunger for human flesh. Once they've had their fill, they return to their normal selves and mostly regret what they've done. I could talk about the comics of Marvel Zombies for hours, but we're not here to talk about them. With this in mind, you have to ponder the question, what if the world of the Incredibles were infected with a similar virus? How would the heroes handle it? And how would the virus interact with these super-powered beings? In today's cult meeting, we are going to be going through the possible infections these heroes will come across, how they'll deal with it, and discover the fates of the Incredibles and the Supers as we ponder the question, what if the Incredibles were zombies?
Do you want to see your name in the end credits? Go check out our coffee, and at low as $1 a month, you can have your name on the end screen at the end of every video. Giving is also welcome. Links for the coffee are in the description of the video.
Now, first, if you haven't seen my Zombie Infection AU video, do check it out as we talk about the three main components on what makes a zombie AU so entertaining. First, we need to figure out how everyone would get infected. Thankfully, the NSA tapes already has a recording of zombies already existing in the universe. In Gamma Jack's tape, he talks about his regular fights with villains. And in that portion, he mentions how he has to fight zombie monkeys.
Yeah, I've fought my fair share of villains, and they all have their own unique challenges. You know, they got their zombie monkeys and their giant laser robots and their super aquatic ninja pygmies.
Now we can take this information and bend it to what would be an awesome vector for a breakout event. We can say that Jack goes out on his daily patrol and he comes across another one of Baron Von Ruthless's mutants and dispatches them as usual. Only this time, he lets his guard down, and a zombie mutant gets a jump on him. Thinking his powers would be enough to take care of the infected mutant, he gets too cocky, as he does not notice the zombie slashing him in his abdomen. Jack gets cut as he grabs a hold of the infected and disintegrates it out of anger. Baron Von Ruthless escapes during the commotion, as Jack grips his wound. Now, since there are already zombies in the universe, I think the NSA would already have a cure for the said infection. But this time, I'd like to think Gamma Jack got infected while his powers were still active, thus making the virus mutate in a way where the cure for the infection no longer works. As soon as he returns back to the NSA for the cure, I believe Jack would think he's all good now as he tries to leave. Instead, before he gets out of the clinic, he nearly collapses on the floor, vomiting radioactive sludge. Some agents would stare at Jack, but his fellow supers would most likely come to his aid. I'd like to think Frozone would be in the vicinity at the time as Mr. Incredible and Gazerbeam would be walking in to check on Jack. As Frozone comes to check on his friend, he gets attacked by a now infected Gamma Jack. He dodges in the nick of time as he almost gets bit but gets Jack under control with his ice. Mr. Incredible and Gazerbeam start to run towards Lucius as his ice starts to crack as Jack's powers start to get stronger. I'd normally think Lucius would appreciate the help, but considering Jack's powers and thinking what it would be if Mr. Incredible got infected, he would ice off the heroes from the opposite side of the room as the rest of the heroes that were not on the other side of the room starts to contain Jack. I'd like to believe that the ones on Mr. Incredible's side would be Meta Man and Universal Man, along with the brains of the Supers, Everseer, and the rest of the Phantasmics. The rest of the Thrilling Three have made the scene, but they seem to be down one member. Dynaguy and Apogee would be there mostly to check on Flange and how his voice is recovering, as the ice starts to crack and the entire building starts to shake. Gamma Jack, the Flange, and the rest of the heroes that were in that wing of the clinic are now either infected or eaten. Frozone held on as long as he could, but ended up being a man-witch turned by the zombies. The rest of the heroes evacuate the remaining NSA agents as some of the Phantasmics hold off the infected. Everseer leads the Phantasmics in their defense as he glimpses into the future. As he seems to be calm and collected, the rest of his team are busy holding the zombies back. Knowing what Everseer's powers are, I believe he peered into the future to see if this would be the way to go in terms how he thinks it will all go. As he does, his team starts to drop and get infected. As he lets himself get eaten, as he knows what the rest of the heroes can pull off. Yup, the germaphobe decided to break his one rule because he had that much faith in the rest of the heroes. Now, where do we go from here? We can assume that Mr. Incredible and the remaining survivors regroup to try and figure out what to do next before this gets out into the public and another outbreak occurs. Metaman suggests that they contain the infected in the clinic wing of the NSA, which most agree, but Gazerbeam lets everyone know, even if they do figure out how to keep them in the clinic for long, they need to consider that these aren't normal infected. These are superpowered zombies that still possesses their powers even while infected. So it's back to the drawing board in containing the outbreak. As the conversation goes on, they hear a voice coming from behind them. I can help you whip up a cure, as everyone is surprised as they turn and see a kid wearing a blue cape and a DIY Mr. Incredible shirt. Incrediboy has made the scene. At first, Bob is concerned for the boy's safety and how he got into the NSA headquarters in the first place. But Gazerbeam and Dynaguy think about it for a solid minute. Apogee then notices the boots that this kid is wearing. Seeing how similar they are to Dynaguy's rocket gloves, she asks if he made them himself. He acknowledges the fact that he did and thanks Apogee for noticing. Universal Man is more panicked than anything else as he is still shaken up with what just happened. Dynaguy snaps his friend out of it as he composes himself. The group of surviving heroes converse about how they can contain the infected while Buddy can help the remaining scientists work up a cure. But he states that in order to make a cure, he needs a fresh sample of the virus from one of the infected. They look at everyone thinking who would be strong enough and fast enough to contain a superpowered zombie and get to the lab without getting infected. As the group talks, they all turn to Mr. Incredible. He is very hesitant at first, but Universal Man reminds him that literally nothing can penetrate his skin. So even if he gets bit, the teeth of the supers would not penetrate his body. Now you have to remember, this is prime Mr. Incredible. In The Incredibles, this is the Mr. Incredible that is at his peak. Gazer Beam does bring up the fact that they have no idea how the infection works and if it really does need to penetrate the skin to get infected, but everyone collectively scolds Simon as he acknowledges that he is not helping at all. Mr. Incredible looks at the door welded shut by Gazer Beam as he hypes himself up. Metaman gives him a pep talk as Gazer gets ready to open the door to back him up. Universal Man and the rest of the Thrilling Three are at the ready by the lockdown door to shut it as soon as they come back. Before Bob is ready, Buddy tugs at his costume, looking up at his hero as he tells him how he's got this. He's Mr. Incredible, the best superhero there is. What could happen? With this, Bob gets a new wind of motivation as he remembers why he became a super in the first place. He nods at Metaman and Gazer Beam as they open the door. Bob runs in at a blinding speed, bolting past the infected. These things try to get a hold of Bob, but he's just too fast and too strong for them to pin down. As he runs through the infected, he grabs an infected Frozone and Gamma Jack as he makes a beeline towards the exit. As these infected claw at Bob's costume, he seems to be unaffected by these attacks as they shut the door behind him. But before Gazer Beam could weld it shut, the infected flood out of the clinic as they book it towards the lockdown door. As the doors slowly close, it looks like they aren't going to make it. As the gap between these massive metal doors start to close, Metaman grabs everyone as he tells them to hold on. He focuses all of his mental strength enough as their bodies begin to warp. As the doors shut, Metaman teleports everyone to the other side of the lockdown door as it locks. These infected are now in possession of the team. They run to the research lab of the NSA as they throw these infected supers into cryopods. With samples being taken, Buddy starts to get to work on the cure with the rest of the scientists. As Universal Man and Metaman stand guard by the door, Bob strikes up a conversation with Buddy. How the hell did he get into the NSA headquarters? How did he find it in the first place? Without looking up from his work, he simply states that his father was one of the co-founders of the NSA, and as it so happens to be, it's Take Your Son to Work Day. As Mr. Incredible is in utter shock, he looks back towards Gazer Beam in utter disbelief. They talk amongst themselves while standing guard. Universal Man more calm and collected than usual. Metaman and Bob talking about getting a bite to eat after all of this is done. And Dynaguy watching Apogee and Simon flirt at the other side of the room. Buddy tells everyone that he's finally whipped up a possible cure to all of this. As they all gather around, they test it on Frozone first. As they inject this cure straight into his heart, it takes a few minutes before it could take effect. But as it does, the infection starts to fade. Lost skin and muscle tissue start to grow back, and limbs start to regrow and reattach themselves to the joints. Lucius wakes up in a panic, but calms down as he sees the shock on everyone's faces. They cheer as Bob hugs his friend as everyone is relieved that Buddy and the rest of the scientists could make a modified cure for the gamma zombie infection. As Metaman gives a speech on how, even in the darkest times, hope will shine through. Gamma Jack's pod starts to glow green as he breaks through his pod, biting down on Metaman's neck. In utter shock, Gazer tells Buddy to give them the cure, but as he says it, it will take a couple of minutes to produce even more, as this is the only one that he had. Bob pats him on the shoulder as he tells Buddy He's got this. Incrediboy has got this. With stars in his eyes, he sees Mr. Incredible's Universal Man, Frozone, and Dynaguy hold off an infected Gamma Jack as they try to stop the infection from getting to Meta Man's system. As strong as his metabolism is, Meta Man can only hold off the infection for so long. Bob pins Jack down as Frozone freezes Jack in place. He does not let up this time, as Bob now turns his attention to Meta Man as Dynaguy and Universal Man struggle to pin him down as he turns. Bob spears Meta Man, pinning him down with all of his strength as it becomes a fight for control. As Buddy almost finishes mass-producing the cure, the infected supers begin to break through the lockdown doors as Gazer Beam and Apogee are at the ready. With Meta Man becoming more and more infected, he slashes at Universal Man. As he gets him square in the chest, Universal Man starts to feel the effects of the infection. As Bob tells Dynaguy to make sure Universal Man does not turn himself into a black hole. As the infected finally break through the door, Gazer and Apogee square up as Buddy pushes through the both of them. As a ray gun with the cure locked and loaded, he aims at the infected supers. As he fires, but that's all I got for you in today's episode. What are your thoughts? Do you think the Incredibles would make a good infection AU? Or has it already been done and I just don't know about it yet? Let me know down in the comments. I'm gonna edge y'all just a little bit with this one. If this video does blow up and it gets to say 10,000 likes, I'll make a full comic series dedicated to the zombies of the Incredibles universe. If you want to see that happen even sooner, go check out our coffee, as if we do hit that goal, everyone there will get an exclusive first look at it. But if you enjoy this kind of content, leaving a like would be awesome as it gets the video out there, and subscribing will help the channel grow as we are growers and not showers. That's all from your boy. I hope you have a wonderful day, and in case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.